So Mauro, thank you so much for being with us here on National Whistleblower Week. Could you tell us, please, what you feel would work for whistleblowers to help one another, or your advice for whistleblowers?
I would say stay connected as much as you can, and research even the name of others and reach out to them. That's what I did to understand their experience, because certainly in my experience, I found out that only another whistleblower can understand what you are going through and everything that comes with becoming a whistleblower. So certainly not just wait that somebody reaches out to you, but be proactive and reach out to others.
And what did you find out in your case, Mauro? What was the lesson you took away?
The lesson I took away is that money always helps to prevail, no matter what the facts may be. But the other important lesson that I learned is that the feeling of having done the right thing is worth more than the money that anybody can get or have.
And finally, Mauro, what would you tell other whistleblowers who find themselves in your situation, who are just out there in the world?
So if you truly believe that doing the right thing is what matters the most and preserve your integrity, in my mind, to other whistleblowers, you shouldn't have much of a choice. You should speak up. Be prepared and be very strong, especially if you have a family. It's not easy, but they can also become a source of support. But be prepared to be ostracized and to face a lot of pain and suffering. But at the end, I can assure you that it always pays off.
Thank you, Mauro. Botta, you are a hero and a warrior. Thank you for spending time on National Whistleblower Week. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Maureen Smith, it's a real pleasure to have you on National Whistleblower Week.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it very much. You're up in Canada.
Thank you very much, Ms. Turner.
You bet. You're up in Canada.
Yes.
And I'd like to know, how can we help one another in the whistleblower world?
I think we need lots of support. Like a GoFundMe, 1-800 number where we can list of email address where we can get support from each other. We need lots of support. Okay, so you have to be very strong to can stand up to be a whistleblower. Okay, like there's sometimes that we're weak sometimes at nights and whatever, but you have to be really strong. You have to battle strong, and have that determination and motivation that even if you don't win, it's that it went to court and everybody knows who you are and that you're a winner, that you're victorious.
Excellent, excellent. And what words of support, or like before, advice would you give to other whistleblowers?
Well, so support I would give to other whistleblowers is, if you know that something is wrong, which I do most of the time, all of the time, I report it. That's what I do. I report it. It doesn't matter what's going to happen to me. I think about my future generation. What I'm about to reach 60 years old. So I think about my future generation. Okay, I'm doing it for my future generation, for my grandkids, for all our grandkids, for all our great grandkids. So whenever you decide to whistleblow, let's think about the future, how we all together can change the future so we can all love and live in peace and unity.
Excellent advice. What would you like people to know about whistleblowers?
I'd like people to know about whistleblowers. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to stand up and fight for your rights, for you, yourself, and for the whole world, all of us. Okay, it's a good thing. Don't be afraid to step out and be strong. Okay, with faith, believe in, be strong, be a warrior. Go warrior, go, go, go.
Yes, I'm
Never give,
so,
and it doesn't matter what's happening around you, just keep the faith.
I am so proud of you that you're part of the whistleblower tribe and that you are such a member of the community who is so strong. Thank you so much for appearing on National
Thank you very
Whistleblower
much, Ms.
Week.
Turner. Yes,
You
yes.
are a role model.
You
Thank
are
you.
a legend. You're a legend. Thank you very much.
We are so delighted to have Robert MacLean today. He is a legacy whistleblower. He's been around a long time. He's helped many whistleblowers. He is such a supportive person. I'm delighted to have him. Robert, hello. Thank you for joining us for National Whistleblower Week. How can we help one another in the whistleblowing world, Robert?
There's so many reforms needed. One thing I keep yelling about is we need to get the federal government inspector general offices to have the authority to prevent whistleblowers from being relocated from their homes and cities. I think the inspector general should be able to step in and stop security clearance suspensions, relocating whistleblowers, and removing them from the payroll or firing them.
I think that's an excellent point that you have, Robert, because, you know, they used to use fitness for duty, and now they've turned around and are using the security clearances, which is a major problem. You're spot on, just spot on. And I hope I like the fact you brought recognition to that. What words of support would you give to other whistleblowers?
Memorialize everything. It's gotten so bad that I tell people to wear a audio recording device everywhere they go. Heck, if they could wear a GoPro on their head or have a drone filming everything of them, I would do that. And let's face it, you know, everybody says that's illegal. It's not. It's not illegal if they are trying to set you up, they are lying under oath, and you have audio recording that proves otherwise. There's every court in the land will allow that. Now, you can't use it proactively, but you could use it to exonerate yourself when somebody's trying to accuse you of lying and they're lying about it under oath. So, I mean, after the Supreme Court decision, I was reinstated. It was every day I was being set up in a minefield. So memorializing everything, if you don't want to audio record everything, you could send text messages to yourself. You can send emails to yourself, anything that you can get to timestamp, because that'll end up in a tribunal to prove whether something happened or not.
And these words of wisdom come from a lot of pain and time and experience on your part, don't they? You've been in the battlefield, the whistleblower arena, for how many years now, Robert?
Over 20 years, the courts have ruled since my first disclosure against the Department of Homeland Security.
And you are, I want everyone to know, you are a hero and a warrior. I know you probably don't like those terms, but you are. You've been around a long time. You've fought like a warrior. What would you like people to know about whistleblowers, Robert?
Most people don't realize that they've exposed wrongdoing. And once they find out, it's generally too late, and the agency has shored up their defenses and are ready to swarm you and discredit you and destroy you. So, and I would say 9 out of 10 people that have blown the whistle, they give up, and because it's overwhelming. The charges that are from just nuanced to totally made up, it destroys people. when you have the US government accusing you of crimes and misconduct, it's devastating. And people just rather just take the first settlement offer, which, you know, Jane, it's always, we'll let you resign voluntarily and we'll give you a clean SF-50, which is essentially your discharge notice. I'm just shocked how many times people give in. They even if they have a smoking gun case, they'll settle quick because they can't handle the litigation and the allegations waged against them. They referred me for criminal prosecution at the Assistant U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia. And when I found that, my family found out that they wanted to put me in prison. It's devastating.
And as a legacy whistleblower, Robert, who's been in the arena and has helped so many other whistleblowers and has stayed in the arena yourself, what has kept you going?
Pretty simple. 9/11 was a result of unlocked cockpit doors. It's right there on page 158 and 245. You don't have to listen to me. They simply waited for the pilots to get food trays or to use a lavatory. And pilots still leave that door open to chat with the flight attendants. They have to go see the wing services. This happens daily. And look, we have tens of thousands of casualties from Afghanistan and Iraq wars. We spent over $1 trillion, maybe more than $2 trillion in both of those wars, simply because of unlocked cockpits. So this is a black and white issue for me, that so many military members and so much taxes got wasted after these attacks. And to this day, we have still not secured those cockpits, and they routinely are unlocked. And all we put is flight attendants' bodies and a cart on wheels.
Thank you, Robert MacLean, certainly a warrior in the whistleblowing arena. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
We are so honored today to have Stephanie Von Demeter with us. And she is a public safety whistleblower. She has also established an organization that she'll mention. But we're going to start off with a question, Stephanie. How can we help one another in the whistleblower world? And thank you for joining us.
Hi, Jane. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be a part of this project with you. And as you know, I love you, admire you, look up to you. And I think that this is actually a really great question. So the idea of like, how can we help one another in the whistleblower world? First, I think that, as you know, no one can fully understand the whistleblower experience like another whistleblower. Right. And I think that it is crucial that those of us that have endured this incredibly challenging journey help illuminate the path for others. And the unknown, it's scary. In any situation, the unknown is scary, but it's particularly terrifying when you choose to right a wrong and you're up against a Goliath. And in many cases, you're also in the court of public opinion. And I think that, choosing to do the right thing will bring forth for almost all whistleblowers a personal firestorm that uproots your entire life. And as someone who's gone through that myself, I feel now compelled to help other people because I know they need that lifeline. And so I think that for whistleblowers, the more we can share about our experiences and the more that we help each other, the more that we will be able to ultimately change society for the better.
Oh, excellent advice, excellent words. I admire you so much. You are strong, you're a warrior, you're a hero. It's delightful to be able to talk to you again. What words of support or advice would you give to other whistleblowers?
That's a great question too. So I would say that one, be prepared for the long haul. I think that if you are thinking about coming forward as a whistleblower, I would strongly recommend that you talk to other whistleblowers before you do that. So, there's attorneys, but I think it's really important to talk to other whistleblowers, to listen to interviews, listen to podcasts, read interviews, and really get informed on what whistleblowing is, because it really is a process and it's not an event, as I told you before. And it is a process that most likely is going to, unfortunately, shred your normal life to pieces. There's a good chance it's going to end your career. It's going to sever relationships. And I did not know that going into it. So it's one of the first things that I talk to people about today when they reach out to me, is that how important it is to make an informed decision when you come forward. I think that when you come forward, I think it's important to learn about what your options are for coming forward. So anonymously, not anonymously. Do you want to find another job first? And, in addition to speaking to attorneys, I personally think it's really important that you do your own due diligence. And I think you have to really weigh everything very carefully, weigh it again. And then you need to know, and I think you're the one that said this to me, is that, you can't choose, you're not going to be able to choose courage and comfort at the same time. You really, once you cross that line, it's one or the other. And really, when you cross that line, it's about courage. And also, once you come forward again, I think that it is really crucial that you create a support system for yourself based on this new phase of your life. It takes immense bravery to speak truth to power. And while I always like to tell whistleblowers that they will survive this and that they will be okay as you go through the process, I think it's really important to know that you have to expect the unexpected. That's what happened. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I thought it was going one way, it went another. I had things that felt like wins that ended up not being a win. I had things that felt like setbacks that ultimately they were actually like in my best interest. So things are shifting all the time. But the key is that if you just keep remembering why you came forward and you keep putting one foot in front of the other, especially when you feel like you don't think you can do it for another day, what will happen is that moment will pass, and then you can keep moving forward to doing the right thing.
Excellent words of advice. Excellent.
Yeah.
And so can you also tell us, what would you like to tell people about whistleblowers?
That's a great question. So, again, this whole idea about, whistleblowing is a process and not an event. And the reason why I think that's important is that, so for a third party, what happens is that when a third party either sees or learns about, somebody that's come forward as a whistleblower to them, and I know that if I hear other stories, it feels like it's like a moment in time, right? It's like, oh, they came forward, they were a whistleblower, so like Cassidy Hutchinson just came forward and she testified. Yes. So everyone's focused on that hour, her hours in front, but there's a lot that happens before and after that moment, right? So, right. So the truth is that whereas for third parties, that may just be, just the moment that they learned about it, but it is for a whistleblower, that's actually just like literally a notch in the timeline. Mm-hmm. And it is that notch in the timeline is when I'm probably not supposed to swear, but when, when shit is about to hit the fan, it's the best way I can.
Yes.
And so it's, things are just about, because after you come forward, that's when, you start to get attacked, right?
Oh,
so yeah. It's and I tell your story all the time about women slut, or, they're either going to make you the slut or the nut. I just think that's so hilarious. So anyway, but I think it's important for people to also understand, third parties to understand that whistleblowers, no one grows up saying like, I'm going to be a whistleblower. We
No.
don't choose to be whistleblowers. You know, people, you know, every person that I've spoken to, they were someone that was in a job that they really cared about, right? And they were going on, they were moving along with their lives. And then what happens is that you discover something, it's something you wish that you never discovered in the
Yeah.
first place. And then the problem is that now you're dealing with something that is really wrong and it really weighs on you. And so like for me, what happened was that I don't feel like I made the choice. I felt like the decision chose me. And, you know, for me as a public safety whistleblower who was worried about if an event happened where hundreds of people could have lost their lives in minutes, you know, the consequences of not speaking up
Right.
were so crushing that it was just as bad as, it was worse than coming forward if I would have not come forward. And so to stay quiet could have been catastrophic. So, you know, that's where you hit a place where it's like, how can you look yourself in the mirror? You know, and there's no hiding from that. So again, for third parties to look at people from, you know, whistleblowing, I would say that instead of looking at that moment in time, I think that to perhaps try to understand, you know, the process leading up to it, what happens afterwards, put yourself into that situation where you're making a decision where you're risking everything in your life for other people,
Yes.
right? For other
Yes.
people, that how that must feel as a whistleblower when you make that kind of decision and then people attack you for that. And that is my go forward mission, Jane. It is to, you know, help have social change and understanding so that I said it to you when I did my podcast that one day, you know, 30 years or whenever it is from now, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to look at the news and these young girls that I talked to today and my friends' children, they're going to be able to come forward in a moment where they have to blow the whistle and tell the truth, and they will be recognized for that. They will be rewarded for that. We will talk about them positively. The word whistleblower will have a totally different meaning to it, because the reality is, like you say all the time, is that we're warriors and we're heroes and we should be treated as in that way.
Exactly. And I would really like you to mention, you know, the fact most whistleblowers are caught up in trauma, and it takes a long time. It took me 10 years to even put the pieces back together, but you seem to have coped extremely well. And could you just mention the organization that you have established? I am so impressed with that.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Yeah. So it's called the Silence No More Foundation. And, you know, it really is, it's about, and what you just said, I think is actually, you know, everybody has their own different ways that they contribute to like the whistleblower community. And for me, my goal is actually to help people to come out of, you know, the shame and the isolation of, and the aloneness of what we go through as whistleblowers, and to help all these different groups, you know, come together to support each other, and then also to help people that when they're in a traumatized state, as you just said, like how do we work through that? Because it's I do know that there were many days that I thought, how am I ever going to be a functioning human being in this world again? Yeah, I didn't think I would. I mean, I kind of thought it was over. And you know, the funny thing is that the game changer for me has been starting the foundation, because what that did is that now I talk to other whistleblowers all the time. And by talking to other whistleblowers, I feel like I'm not alone. And then the other thing is that it's helped me to understand the significance of what I've done. So I think very often you can't go out and do something heroic and see it in yourself. But then when you hear your story from another person and you're like, what? And you realize like how amazing it is that they did what they did, then it's helped me to sort of like digest and understand how amazing it is that I did what I did. And I don't think that I really fully understood that until I heard other whistleblower stories, and I was able to then internalize my own story for myself in a way that was actually true and really represented, you know, as you say, the hero and the warrior, you know, that we are. So,
yes. And Stephanie, I will tell you, You are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us during National Whistleblower Week. You're a hero, a warrior, and an amazing human being. Thank you, Stephanie.
Likewise, I feel the same about you. Thank you.
Austin, it's awful good to see you. You are one busy man, and you are a whistleblower who certainly has a great life after whistleblowing. I like to hold you up as a success story. So maybe you'd like to tell us, Austin, how can we help one another in the whistleblower world?
I think the best way that we can help each other is by standing together. No matter what industry people blow the whistle in, a lot of times and often, or more often than not, they feel alone. They feel like they lose their very sense of identity. And I think that something that we need to do to help each other, to elevate each other, to break down these barriers that we're facing is to continually just be there for each other, support each other. You are not alone as a whistleblower. And I think that the most powerful thing we have is each other.
Excellent advice. And Austin, what words of support or advice would you give to other whistleblowers?
Keep the faith. It's very, very hard when you look at the way our system is set up to imagine that you will just come out of this on top. And the reality is that a lot of times people just give up. They give up, they get tired. And it's a hard fight. It is a long fight. And I would argue for some of us, it's never truly over. But I encourage people to live a life of adventure. You know, whenever you want your book to be that chapter book that, you know, what happens next, and let this be your moment. You know, the moment you said, no, you know, this cost is too high, no more, are we going to do this? Let this be the beginning of your story, not the end.
And Austin, you have very good advice here. I know you're a major figure in the media world. What would you like people to know about whistleblowers?
Whistleblowers are, that's a really good question. Whistleblowers are often your family, your friends, your colleagues, coworkers, that did nothing more than what was asked of them. Typically, when you go off and you work somewhere, one of the very first policies you ever sign is an ethics policy. Almost, at least as far as I know, most professions have that. Whistleblowers are people that chose, no matter what, to be ethical, to stand up against tyranny, you know, against tyrants in their workplace, and their even in some of their social circles, even in the government. And they chose to uphold the values that hold our very society together, some of the best parts of humanity. And so I think that what's important for the public to know about whistleblowers is that they are everywhere. And to whistleblowers watching this, you know, we are everywhere. You know, we are everywhere. We have the opportunity to, you know, lift each other up, to continue to come out and speak up, you know, with social media on the rise, with people having more availability to speak out. I think that now more than ever, whistleblowers are coming out of the woodwork, not because they're new, but because now it's easier than ever to share your story, for people to know that you're out there and you are not alone. And so, and I guess in closing, what I would love for people to know about whistleblowers is that they're normal people. They're people that cared. They're people that wanted to make a difference.
Thank you, Austin. It's an honor to be able to talk to you.